So yeah, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to episode two. I'm Micah Camble, Antonio Layler. The first episode we just got to go over his story and tell y'all why. We can kind of recap again. So this show is really called Athlete Testimonials, and we're both Division I athletes at Indiana University. We both run track. I run the 400 hurdles. He's a short sprinter, 61 too. And God just placed it on our heart to just provide a space for athletes to share their testimony, share their story as it relates to God and how God has influenced their life and you know how God has brought them up to where they are today and just allowing them to share their faith with other people so that other people can experience God. And we're really excited about that. Like we said, the first two episodes are us two, and then after that we're going to branch out to some other athletes. Hopefully, the goal is you guys reach out. We got a couple athletes in mind, but yeah, we got some great ideas and we're excited for the future. Yeah, and another point I wanted to make is, we're this is about God, and faith. It's not about a specific religion. We're both Christian, but we invite Muslims, we invite Jewish, anyone who wants to just share their story. We welcome you, and we're happy to have you, and we're excited for the future. But yeah, I can get into my story. So I'll just start from the beginning. I have a unique story. Definitely a crazy testimony. It's crazy, but it's very real, and it just shows how God works in our lives. But I just started to talk about Louisville to start because I started in Louisville, but then I moved to Southern Indiana, New Albany. But life in Louisville was not easy. Not it was not the best. I could say that. I always had family. I had love. I was always around love. But we did struggle with my mom. She took care of me and my siblings. Um, and but we didn't have money like, and we struggled. For a lot of it. And my mom definitely did her best to provide for us, and she always did that. She took care of us. She always made sure we had food, clothes, everything. But it was kind of rough. As I got older and older, I went to church as a kid. I went to Canaan Church in Louisville, and then, but I wasn't, I guess, a typical church kid. I was
Hmm.
there, but I wasn't like there.
Fully
Yeah,
embedded.
exactly.
Okay.
Like I was just, typical. But I always, my dad always told me that God has something for my life, and my dad actually lived in Nashville growing up. So I would always visit Nashville, go see him, visit my siblings. Yeah, and so yeah, God was always in my life, but you know, I was always the type of person growing up that was like, I knew one day I would lock in and get serious, but that never really happened until later in life. But I'll get into that. So
Yeah.
after Louisville, my dad had moved to New Albany, Indiana. He started working at IUS, and I moved in with him and I started to go into Scribner Middle School. Then I went to New Albany High School. And, you know, that that's where, God, I started realizing God in my life because, I'm getting older. I'm starting to realize like, I'm not alone. Like somebody's blessing me like
100%.
like somebody's taking care of me, like making sure I'm good. And I never quite understood it until later in life. But like, it's like everything just always worked out for me in my favor. Like whether it came to sports, school, everything. Like it was just crazy. And and like I said, since I was a kid, I always knew um that one day there was gonna be a time where I just locked in, and I was like, I know God is gonna take care of me, and I'm gonna be faithful to Him. But all through high school, I was very lukewarm. Like I would say, I was the type of person that in my faith, uh, I was like, I'm a good person,
Yeah.
so I don't have to watch church. I don't have to do all this stuff.
Hmm.
God knows my heart, and that's dangerous because you start to do bad things to people, and you say bad things and you do bad things, and you don't even realize, and
Realize.
you kind of excuse it because you're like, oh, one day. You know what I mean? And that's
100%.
that's exactly how it was all throughout high school. And I was a kid, so I don't really, I don't. I take it with a grain of salt. But that's how I was in high school, and just to fast forward a little bit to college, that's exactly how I was in college too. All through college, I was the same way. Just very uh not really embedded in my faith, not really not aware of what I was doing, and I wasn't really reading the Bible or anything. And all throughout college, I never really, I was close with God, and or at least I said I was. And you know, just taking it like just living life, with no awareness of what I was doing, what I was saying, who I was doing anything to, and that's kind of like when I think back, I'm like, dang, like I wasn't watching church, I wasn't reading no Bible, I wasn't doing nothing. Like, what the heck? So then one day, this wasn't the main day, but one day, I found a verse, and it was Proverbs 3:5 and 6, and that was trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean on your own understanding and always submit to Him. He'll make your path straight. And when I seen that, that was like the day I was like, hold up, okay, that day I was talking about like
Yeah.
this is this is that day, because when I seen that verse, oh my gosh, it's like my life changed. Like wow, this is the verse I've been waiting for all my life. And,
Yeah.
this was early in college. So when I seen that, I was like, okay, what I've been manifesting all this time, like it's gonna come true. But at that time, I found that verse, but I was still living wrong. Like I wasn't going to church or anything. And then, so this is the crazy part. I'll just jump to this. So this is the crazy part of my testimony. People that around me know what happened, but so I want to say around May 2022, maybe June, early June into May, there was a day where um, my life changed forever, and everything up from that point changed drastically, and everything before that point I just reflected on, and just that's the day that God came into my life. And so what happened was, uh, the season was over. I think we had just went to regionals or something, or
Regionals.
Big Tens. Regionals was over, and to celebrate, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna smoke some weed, and obviously we can't do that as athletes, and I don't really do that anyway. And just a little background, I don't smoke. I've smoked maybe 5 times in my life since I was like 16, and the reason I don't smoke is because I just it's bad. I tweak out, like my brain just can't handle marijuana, and
Hmm.
that's really that's why I don't do it. And and also another reason was just because I just feel different. Like I feel like doing marijuana, it's just bad. It's not for me. It's not something God wants for me, and that's probably why I just can't handle it. So that night, me and my girlfriend Samari just decided to smoke. Uh, and as I'm smoking, you know, I maybe take 3 or 4 puffs, and that's it. And um, it's crazy, but like I just start thinking, like I'm like, wow, what the heck is going on? Like this is different. Like, and then about 5 minutes into it, maybe I just start screaming out of nowhere, just screaming, like yelling uncontrollably, and I'm like, I lost my mind at this point. And you know, I'm just screaming, and then bouncing off the walls, like hitting every wall, running around, hitting everything. And then I just remember like just screaming and yelling, and I'm in like pain, like torment, like, and I'm hitting my head on the wall, put a big hole in the wall. Um, and then this went on for like 3 minutes or so, and I just remember yelling, and then I remember just falling to the ground, like, dude, I can't. What is this? What's going on? Like, stop, make it stop. Like, please, God, like, what is this? Like, at this point, I'm not even high. Like, this is just something else. Like,
Yeah.
I lost my mind, and it's crazy. And so I just remember falling to the ground, like, stop. Like, what is going on? Like, how do I make it stop? Like, please, please, please make it stop. So then I remember calling my mom, and I'm like, Mom, like, what is going on? Like, can you help me? Like, and in my head, I'm assuming she knows what's happening to me. I'm like, can you like stop, make it stop? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, my mind is just racing. Like, make it stop, please. And then I remember, she's like, what's going on, Micah? What's wrong? Like, because obviously it's not me talking. Like, I don't know. Like, it was me, but like, I didn't have control of my mind
Yeah.
at that point. So then I remember she merged my dad in the call. And then at that point, I was just like, bro, this isn't working. So I remember hanging up and then running out the room. And then when I run out the room, I remember my roommate and my girlfriend at the time were just like, "What is going on? Like, this is like." And mind you, I don't like. I'm a pretty chill person. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're seeing me like this, and it's like, what the heck is going on? But yeah. So then after that, I just remember running out the room, and then I'm like, I need help. Like, what is going on? I'm just saying. They're telling me I'm saying random words and stuff that I don't even know. Like, I'm basically out of my mind, and then after that, I remember grabbing a Bible. I don't know why I grabbed the Bible, but and then once I grabbed the Bible, I had it in my hand and I just ran away. And it's this is like one a.m. It's completely dark outside, pitch black, and I just run. And the reason I ran was because there was light, and I wanted to get to a light, and I'm just running, and then I'm running in the woods, and I remember just going like, and I know my neighborhood at the time, but I ran into like the woods, and I don't know why. But so with the Bible in the hand, I'm just running and running and running, and then I remember falling on like a bunch of leaves and sticks and stuff, and it just tore up my body, like tore everything, and but I just didn't stop. Like, I don't know, I had like super strength or something, but I just kept going in that. And when I kept going, I was like actually in the woods, and I remember just running through a bunch of trees and just scratching myself. And then I remember just falling. And when I fell, it's like my body gave up. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I felt like myself just falling into I just felt the dirt and the mud and stuff just falling into it. And then I was like, no, I can't quit. I just got to keep going. And then I got up and just kept running. And at this point, there was like a pole and there was a street light on it. And for some reason, like I'm telling myself, I got to get to the light. And the light to me was heaven.
Mm.
Like it was God. Like I got to get to God. And so there's this long light pole, a wood pole. And so to get up, like to the street light, I had to climb it. And for I didn't have any clothes on. So I'm climbing this pole naked, and I remember like just going and going and going. And the issue with that was I'm scratching my body like inside and right here, and I still have the marks, but I'll show the video. But like I'm climbing, and I keep failing, like I'm like, and I'm sliding down at the same time. But at the time, I don't really feel the pain. It hurt, but it was more so hard. And but I was like determined to get to that light. And so I just keep climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. I don't know how long it took me, but I'm climbing, I'm climbing, I'm climbing. I finally get it, and then I'm there at the light, like at the top of this long pole. And I remember I'm trying to get into the light, like literally put my whole face and my body in the light. And then I remember burning my forehead, and I still have a scar on my forehead.
Mm.
Um, and it's like burning me, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. But then I like still try to go in it, and I just couldn't. And I remember falling off the pole, like completely falling. Hurt my hip. I couldn't walk for like a week. And so then after that, I just gave up. And I I remember this at this point. I feel like I just everything was done. Like that was it. Like I wasn't high anymore. I wasn't whatever it was. It was done. And I'm hearing my family like calling for me. They're all like, there's like a whole search party out for me, and they're like, Micah, Mike, and I can hear them. I'm like, help, and they finally get me. Then I go to the hospital. But so yeah, that night completely changed my life. Like, and basically after a lot of therapy, talking with my family, talking with my friends, what I realized is that that was a spiritual battle. That's what that was. That's what that experience was. And the talk I talked with Otto, our teammate, and he basically helped me realize that. And what it was is I feel like I'm a very spiritual person, and I feel like that night, like the devil
Was
came
that
to
thing?
me. Yeah, it was after me, it was after my spirit, and was after me. And I feel like after a lot of reflection, I feel like God allowed it to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the type of person I am, I'm very stubborn. I'm very like stuck in my ways for the most part. So God had to allow that to happen in order to change my life, in order to bless me. And I'm so grateful because at the time I wasn't, but I'm grateful now because that experience like brought me closer to God. It was a valley, and in the valley is where you get close to God. So just after that experience, man, it was crazy. I remember the next day, like uh I was like, what the heck? Like, what happened? I'm in the hospital. Like, is this real life? Like,
Yeah.
I just did that, like me. And the thing about that is, you never think that's gonna happen to you until it happens to you. So, like, I'm like, wow, this really just happened to me. And I remember the next day, I'm just laying down, bandages on me. I'm wrapped up. I'm just thinking, like, my mind, like, was one way. After that was a completely different way. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro. And, you know, I just remember being mad at God. I'm like, why did you allow this to happen to me? Like, I ain't never did nothing that bad. Like, I might have did some bad stuff, but
Yeah.
dude, I ain't deserve this. Like, I'm telling you, my body, like, I have so many scratches, and I'm gonna put the video up, but like, so many scratches everywhere, like my face. I remember I tried to scratch. It was so bad, like the experiments, the torment was so bad that I like wanted to die. Like, I tried to scratch my heart, and I still have a scar on my heart, all over my legs, everywhere. And but yeah, get back to the spiritual battle. That's what it was. And just to touch on it was more so mental. Like, the physical was bad, but the mental was way worse than anything I could ever comprehend.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, while I was in that state, my I feel like my spirit was telling me, like, you have to do this in order to get to heaven. Like, everything I was doing, like, you have to scream to get to heaven. You have to yell. You have to do this and that and this and that. And but my flesh was like, no, God isn't real. And so it was like this battle. I'm saying, my spirit saying, yes, God is real. My
Your
flesh was like,
flesh.
no, he's not. Like, and it was just a battle this whole night. And that's when I realized it was a spiritual battle, because like literally I was fighting with the demon that whole night. Like, it was an attack on my spirit, and the mental torment. Oh my God, it was so bad. Like, it was something I never want to experience ever again. I would never wish it on
Yeah.
anybody. And you know, but just to like speed along, like, I just thought about that night so much. I went to therapy after that. I started going to church regularly after that, because like I said, I was mad at God, but I feel like God knew that was that day I was talking about. That was that day, like the day where I'm gonna lock in, the day where God is gonna come into my life and really make me decide: am I gonna go down this way, or am I go down His way? And after some time, I won't lie, like, I definitely did not choose Him at first.
Yeah.
I was upset with God. I'm like, what happened? Why me? And over some time, I started to realize why it was me. And it was that experience made me get closer with God. It made me watch church regularly. It made me start reading my Bible every single day. It made me start praying, and not just praying, but praying with my heart. Because to get through that, I needed Him. Like, there was nothing in this world that could have got me through that situation. Like, my parents, uh, my fraternity, sports, my girlfriend, nothing, none of that worldly stuff could have got me through what I was going through. The only thing was God. And, I finally realized that and I accepted that. And I was like, God, I need you. And I
Yeah.
just accept that. In everything I do, I need you and I want you. And, that's why now I'm glad that I went through that situation because, you know, that was what I needed. I was about 20, 21, 22. That's the only way I was gonna get close to him. And I'm just so grateful because now I'm in a great place to where I can be able to share my story and tell people and give them guidance and I'm reading the Bible, so I'm able to tell people about the Bible. I'm able to see my purpose now because before I was just living life. Now I live with a purpose. Like everything I do, I'm aware of it. I'm conscious. Like I can't say these things. I can't do these things. I need to watch church. I need to listen to my preacher. I need to find spiritual friends, spiritual connections. And, that's, I'm just so glad ever since that experience because, like I said, my life has changed drastically for the better. And, to incorporate my sport, uh, before, I came in as a walk on, not very good, not very fast in the 400. And my career was very mediocre. I ran a couple of fast 4x4 legs, but nothing really crazier than after that experience. The way God blessed my life was just insane. Like, and this basically, I feel like that whole experience was a story of Job, where you know he had everything.
Yeah.
God allowed the devil to come take everything away to basically show uh basically he wanted to prove that Job only loved God because of all the material things. But Job stayed faithful and God restored everything 10 times. And that's how I feel like the way God blessed me um after that is amazing. Like I got on a scholarship. I ran PRs in the 400 hurdles. My career just took off like and before that, I was always wondering like, why ain't this happening for me? Like, when am I gonna run fast? Because I always worked hard, but that also taught me about God's timing and God's patience, and it's just a perfect thing. And after that situation, I started realizing like, dang, God's always been in my life, always like. He's always saved me no matter what. Like he's always been there. Even when I was faithless, he's always been there. And I'm so grateful because it's like, dang, like you just start thinking like
Yeah.
I was doing this, but God came and saved me. And I feel
Hmm.
like this was a situation, where I'm at today, I'm just so grateful. Like I'm financially well, spiritually well, physically, mentally, like everything is good. I'm so blessed. And I feel like he's provided me with so much overflow that I just want to give back. Like, and that's kind of, to bring it around today, like that's where this podcast comes from. Like just being able to share my story and maybe people have similar stories or they can express how God has been so good to them and how he's changed their life. And you know yeah, but that's basically my story. It was a crazy, that was a, I'm probably downplaying it, but the mental aspect, like it lasted for a long time. Like I was down bad for a long time and my close people know like how traumatic that situation was. But it just shows how good God is, and how
You
how
aware?
yeah, how he loves us, and how we have to go through valleys to get to the mountains. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And God loves us in the valleys and the mountains. But the valleys is where we get close to him, we we love him and develop a relationship. And that period of time was a valley for me, but you know, God has always been faithful. Yeah.
That's man. That is so empowering. Like just to hear your story, man. It's just so profound. And I just want to go back when you were talking about the spiritual battle, right? And how you kind of mentioned with the flesh and your spirit, it was in a battle. And I think that as humans, when we in those situations, like we have to understand that we make those decisions, and we tend to realize on our we tend to put so much energy into our flesh, what our flesh want,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of like this like kind of remove us from God, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that really takes a hold on us, because it shows us that like we not obedient, we not really fully trusting what God have for us. And I think that, bro, like it just beyond kind of just how to put this. It's just so like we just not obedient at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like if God telling us not to do this, we tend to make our own decision. We tend
Mm-hmm.
to do everything that we feel like is necessary, and then we kind of lose sight of God. And when you mentioned that, oh, why God put me in this situation, why He put me in this, because I think that you was in a position where you was kind of relying on like what your flesh wanted at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was taking completely control over you. But throughout that spiritual battle, God was still showing you the signs, the way to go. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Just like you mentioned, the light, you were still
Mm-hmm.
chasing it. You were still trying to figure out what is this. You know what I mean? And I think that's so really, that's really just an honor to hear, because like what I see is God was with you the whole time. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? He never left your side. He just been there completely. And man, it's just beyond just crazy how like just hearing your story, bro. And I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Like it's been
And like you said, I feel like that's exactly what happened to me because I wasn't being obedient. But I was the type of person that I was saying I don't have to be obedient because my heart's good.
yeah,
When in reality, no, my heart wasn't good.
wasn't good.
It wasn't. And it wasn't good because I wasn't obedient. And that's my biggest focus now is being obedient to God. Like, how can I please you every single day? What can I do to make you happy? What can I do to serve you? And that's way better than the life I was living before this
100%.
happened. And back to the spiritual battle, it was like I realized like, God, I realized it was a spiritual battle when God, because God isn't the type of God to be like, do this or do that or else, or the torment I was going through, that's not God.
Yeah.
That's definitely the enemy. And
Mhm.
that even confirmed for me that God is even real because he allowed that to happen to me. And there are evil forces just like there are good forces,
Yeah.
working in this world. And the evil forces wanted me to do marijuana, wanted me to and I'm not like a I hate marijuana type
Yeah.
of person, but it's just not for me personally. And so, I was the type of person where I had idols over God. I was doing so much stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. And, I've repented for all that and I'm at a place where, I know I'm forgiven and it feels really good. And that's another thing. Like I encourage everyone is to seek repentance, seek forgiveness, and be obedient. Like that's really what this podcast is just being obedient. Like how can we do the things God wants us to do? And, it's really important to be obedient.
100%. Yeah, man. Just hearing your story, man, is definitely worth hearing. And I think that God was with you, man, and it's kind of really enlightening to actually hear it. But one question that I have in mind, over the course of your life, looking back forgivingly and looking forward, um, gratefully, how did God transform your life as an athlete?
So that's a good question because, I was the crazy. I feel like I'm not supposed to be here, like as a Division 1 athlete, traveling all across the country. Just getting this opportunity. I really feel like it's just an example of how good God has been to me because I was always athletic, and I was always good at track. I feel like I always wanted to play basketball, but I probably wasn't good enough to play in college. But for me, my journey is crazy because I didn't get any college looks until like the last 2 weeks of high school, and that's when I started running fast, and that's really when the first time I decided like I need to live differently. But I wasn't all the way in on God, but I was like, you know, uh semi aware, and that's he just inserted my life instantly, and just it just shows how he can make the impossible possible because I wasn't even gonna run in college. I was just gonna go to school, and he just came in and helped me run fast. I genuinely feel like he sent angels down to make me run fast, to save me from myself. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so like I said, I was a walk on here, and didn't really run well all for years. I always worked hard, but never really ran well. And literally the day when you were there too, you're telling me, "Hey, God's about to show out."
Yeah.
I'll never forget that day. Like the day where I just let go and let God. Like literally that 400 hurdle race where I went 51. Like it wasn't me running. I can't even take credit. Like
100%.
I promise it was not me. Like maybe like the first 250. After that, at that 150 mark was not me. Like the way I just took off, and man, like just boom, like it was not, bro, it was not
Yeah.
my legs. Like that was all God. Like I feel like he really sent an angel down. And he did that because, you know, to get me to where I am today, like all the way he's blessed me from that race is like, dang, like God is so good. I'm telling you, like, you know, I'm so good now just from that day, and him having grace and mercy on me, because yeah, his grace and mercy is just amazing. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. So one question I definitely want to ask, you experiencing all these things, you know, who was always in your corner?
Mhm.
Family, friends, kind of elaborate with that.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of people in my support system. Start with my mom and my dad. My mom always been there for me. Like she's the reason I'm here today. Literally, like she took care of me all throughout college. Um, Sending me money all the time, paying my bursar, giving me grocery, food money, like, and even at times when she didn't have it, like she made a way, and it's been like that all my life, and I'm just so grateful for her because you know she's a great example of a mom. She works hard for all of us. She just perseveres through everything, and God is in her life too, and I'm happy for that. And yeah, I love my mom a lot. She's definitely a big reason why I'm here today. My dad as well. He's like my best friend. Definitely always there to give me guidance, take care of me as well. Um, I look up to him. He's someone I can definitely go to whenever I need anything, whenever I need to talk about anything. And yeah, I'm just very appreciative of him because he's always told me, God has a plan for me. And at first, it was like pressure, like dang, I gotta live up, I gotta be something because my
Yeah.
dad always telling me. But it kind of, I love that. Like he always told me, God has a plan for you, and the enemy tries to attack you, but God has a plan for you. And he's told me that my whole life, and it is true. Like God does have a plan for me. He has a plan for everybody. So I'm very thankful for my dad, my siblings, um, my girlfriend Samari for sure. Like when I was after that accident, she was there the whole time.
Yeah.
She watched it happen, and she's the one cleaning my bandages, cleaning my blood, changing my scar, cleaning my scars, changing my bandages and stuff. And we've been together for about 4.5 years, and I'm very grateful for her. She's always, it's just great to have someone loyal to you, and always also someone who is also walking this journey with me with God, and she takes it very seriously on her own. It's it's very great to have someone like that in my corner. Um, I would say Coach Bethea too, just giving me an opportunity, a chance to be here, taking a chance on me, traveling me, staying with me even when I run bad or when I'm not at my best. You know what I mean? Always there in my corner.
Yeah.
Um, and a mentor. I don't think you realize how much I look up to him. So just to have somebody that's I can look up and be like, dang, like that's a good man. I want to be like that. So um, in terms of friends, Moot Man for sure. My line brother, he's really the person, like he's Muslim, so he showed me like what it looks like to actually walk with God. Like they pray 5 times a day.
Yeah.
They don't eat pork. They go to the mosque. Like there, to see that, I was like, dang, like I ain't doing nothing of that, like, and you doing all this, it made me feel like I'm like, dang, y'all doing all this, and I'm doing the bare minimum. So he really showed me like how to lock in with my religion and take it serious. So in the way my life has changed, like man, like I'm telling you, I was down bad, like spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, every single way. Financially, like I was broke, I wasn't happy, I was mad, I was angry, I was doing living wrong. And now, I'm not perfect, of course, but like just the way he's like I have overflow like, and that's another thing, like, oh, like God ain't just gonna come in your life and give you the bare minimum. Like he gonna give you so much to where you gonna be able to bless others. And that's what I
100%.
pray for, that's what I ask for. So yeah, just and pray. Like prayer really is just acknowledging him, praying for what you want, and whatever you ask for you'll receive it. And so for those out there, like just take it serious. Make a decision in your heart and say, God, I believe in you. I trust you with my life. I'm gonna be faithful to you. And to me, that's the most important thing, because in this world there's so much things that try to distract you from that. the, the enemy don't want us, because he knows how good God is, and he
100%.
knows what we have after this life. So like the enemy don't want us to have that, because he don't have that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So he gonna do everything in his power to take that away from you, but you can't allow that to happen. Like you have to decide in your heart, like, God, I want you and I'm seeking you. And it's a long journey, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Man, yeah, man. I'm really appreciative of you. You know what I mean? Like since I met you day one. You know what I'm saying? I knew, like I told you the first time, the first episode, like I always saw something in you. You know what I mean? And for you to utilize this time and just talk about your story, man, it's really impactful. Not just me, and to people who, you know, didn't find God. And I think that, it give them the opportunity to really seek and understand of God mercy and his grace. And I think that, man, like just on the journey, like, what I'm saying? It's just the start, it's not the finish. You know what I'm saying? Like God know the start and the end. So we just really have to trust him and just be embedded with his words, man. And I'm just appreciative of you, man.
Yeah, I
For real.
appreciate you too.
I just sent my way.
Thank you. Kinda,
You would have seen it.
my bad. My fault.
It's
I
alright.
got you. Got that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's episode 2. Uh, we're gonna have another athlete for y'all next time. I'm excited. Tune in, like, subscribe, and I'm excited for the future, man. God
100%.
bless.
See y'all next episode.